Okay, is this on? Okay, thank you very much. So, as mentioned, my name is Chris Mitchell. I work for Autodesk. I've been at Autodesk for about 12 years, but I've been working in the CAD industry for over 20 years. I'm part of the Inventor product team, 3D mechanical design package. I manage a lot of the alpha and beta customer engagement programs for various products at Autodesk. I've worked in the CAD industry for 20 plus years, and I've done a lot of work in various virtualization technologies over the years, right back to the days of sort of mainframe Unix, right through software products like Hummingbird Exceed and Citrix and VMware, and most recently Frame. And the primary reason that we use Frame is to allow our own customers, that we've got millions of, to help us to improve our own products. So, as you all know, Autodesk has got a lot of products. We release far too many products on a very regular basis, and our goal is that the products are released so that they're ready for production use. As you can see here, this is a cross-section of a lot of our products. So, because we've got so many products, we've got so many diverse customers using products for so many different things, we run a very extensive alpha and beta program. This is a matrix of all the different release readiness, alpha, beta, tech previews, user research programs that we run, the time frames, and you can see it's quite a matrix. This is our current feedback community dashboard. We've got over 300,000 members in this community, so potentially we can engage with 300,000 customers to help us improve our products. Currently you can see we've got 36,000 people are actively engaged in an alpha or beta tech preview type pre-release engagement with Autodesk. Anybody can sign up for beta.autodesk.com. We use a third-party platform called Centercode, which is basically the whole community, the forum, the delivery mechanisms, and because that's our customer-facing portal, we've essentially embedded Frame as a utility into our beta platform. And this is just a cross-section of one project. You saw up there's 140 projects. This is one project. You can see that just over a quarter are from the US. We've got pretty much every country in the world represented. So when we ask our customers to test our products, we need to provide a solution that is a global solution so that they can test from anywhere in the world on essentially any device. And that's obviously Frame. One of the problems we've struggled with for years is, in the context of AutoCAD here, you can see the first note, you must download and install AutoCAD to test this functionality. The second bullet, do not use AutoCAD Preview in your production environment. So straight away we've got a roadblock. Side-by-side installation of this with your production software is not supported. So straight away, 95% of our AutoCAD customers have switched off. They don't have a test environment, they've already got production software, they need to do it side by side. A small percentage of our customers will do this, but the majority won't. And this is just one example of many of why we needed a third-party solution to help our customers test the software. So a couple of years ago we started down the road of virtualizing our pre-release software. We started with Citrix, we used that for a year or so. We hit a few roadblocks because Citrix needed a client-side install. There were some firewall problems. So we tried that for a while, and then quickly we started to evaluate Frame. And the benefits of Frame are pretty obvious. We could directly access it from our Autodesk beta community. Obviously it'll run in any modern browser, so pretty much if it runs HTML5 then you can run Frame. So there's zero client-side install, there's no firewall issues. We manage it all. Because this is pre-release software, some of the software is being tested by customers 9, 10, 11 months in advance of when it's actually going to be released. So we really need to be careful to manage that software so that it's released only when we think it's good enough to actually get feedback, but in a time frame that's long enough for us to react to the feedback. So we can fully manage the software using Frame. We can deploy it to user groups as and when it's required. Obviously, geo availability, you saw that pie chart of all the countries represented in the beta program. So we can work with either Amazon or Azure, pick the suitable data centers to make sure that we put the applications as close to our end users as possible. And then obviously Frame offered us some very good analytics tools, good costs, and some great usage models. So various competitive evaluation, pretty quickly we decided that Frame was going to be the tool that really helped us to expedite and further our pre-release test program. So before I go on, how many people here have seen a Frame demo before? Anybody? You? Couple. Okay, so I'll finish a couple of slides and then we'll go into a demo. So this is what Frame looks like. You can see here Autodesk Beta staging.frame. These are all essentially the dashboard. You can see AutoCAD Inventor 2018.2, AutoCAD Pi is going to be released in April next year. We've got Fusion 360, we've got Autodesk Data Management, we've got a full version of Vault Server, Vault Client, we've got Screencast, we've got Inventor 2019 that's going to be released next April. We've got a full desktop client. So this is the view that we use internally to Autodesk, and this is essentially, you go to that, log in, and you can run any of these. So even people on our own development and QA teams internally will use Frame as a quick way to just test the latest build. We typically deploy our internal builds on a monthly basis, just so that the end user testers know the sort of cadence we're working on. But our goal as part of that competitive evaluation was that anybody could be up and running using the latest build in less than 2 minutes. And you all know how long it takes to download a new build, install it, uninstall it, fix the registry, fix the uninstalled problems, all that sort of thing. And we pretty much guarantee that using Frame, you could be running any of these products in a browser, Mac, Windows, iPad, whatever. We're running on a Mac here today, in less than 2 minutes. So that was the goal. So this is basically what we came up with. This is the Autodesk feedback community, that Center Code platform I mentioned. We're looking at the AutoCAD preview here. We've just got a link here that says run AutoCAD in your browser. Only people who've signed a non-disclosure agreement can even get to this page on the Autodesk Beta platform. There's a bit of a set of info here that tells people what Frame is, how it works, there's some more information. And then basically there's an embedded Frame, you just click on the button, same as playing a YouTube video, but what it actually does is it's going to connect to, in this case, a data center in AWS on the US East Coast. It's a unique instance that only you can see, and then it's going to start the latest build of AutoCAD that was deployed sometime in the last few weeks. We offer currently 4 different data centers around the world: US East Coast, West Coast, Dublin in Ireland, and Sydney in Australia. We're currently looking at Singapore for Revit, and then we're also starting to consider whether we should start adding in some Azure data centers as well. And the way we do that, this is not going to mean much, but basically Frame make it so easy. Similarly, if you want to embed a YouTube video in your Facebook, you get an embed code link, you cut and paste that into your web page, we authorize it from beta, you hit go, and it sets itself up. So to our end user beta testers, they never leave the Autodesk beta community. They click on a YouTube video and they run in AutoCAD in less than 2 minutes. And we've seen a huge increase in customer engagement, feedback, bug reports, all different aspects of pre-release software testing. And by using Frame, that engagement has really increased. And for example, the Vault team, does anybody use Vault? So for Vault you need a dedicated Windows server, you need SQL, you need IIS, you need blah 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 blah, and nobody would ever test it before it was released because they just didn't have that test environment. Now the Vault and Inventor team have partnered, and we do a combined Vault, Inventor, AutoCAD desktop on Frame, and they can run it all, zero install. When they're finished, they hit the X on the browser and it all goes away. So there's no fear about IP, security, it's just brain dead simple. This really just shows the scope of, this is my dashboard of the Autodesk sort of admin account, and we can see here we've got AEC accounts. So AEC covers AutoCAD, Civil 3D and Revit. we're looking at InfraWorks, and they've got the 4 data centres, US East Coast, West Coast, Europe and Australia. Then we've got the same for the factory team, where we're doing some testing of the new generative design products. And then we've got the manufacturing team, which again is AutoCAD, Inventor and Vault. So we've essentially got 3 groups currently using Frame, each with 4 different data centres around the world. So potentially we've got a lot of flexibility to really scale up or change the access models for various people. Just over a year ago we asked this question: what's your preferred method for alpha testing? The only option then was 90% said installable build, because that's what they knew, tried and tested, they could access the data, it was a known entity. We asked this question about 3 months ago, and you can see now that about 50% have adopted Frame. You know, the mindset has changed completely. They're perfectly happy to pull up their iPad at night, run a Frame, test a new version of Inventor or AutoCAD for 10 minutes, give us some feedback, close it down and move on. So we still see some people want an installable build, they want to test their own local hardware, they want to know their network infrastructure impact. But this, we're tracking this as a trend, and it just keeps going this way. So our end user testers, they really like Frame. We asked this question, you know, what's your satisfaction rate at the end of your Frame session? You can see here that we're currently sort of 80% are satisfied. These people down here, the reason they were dissatisfied was at the time we didn't support the use of 3D connection mice. And you know, everybody uses any 3D product, you've got to have that 3D connection. This has since been addressed. The Frame guys added a Chrome extension to support 3D mice, so all of these dissatisfied people are now satisfied. And again, these are just some comments we received over the last year or so of using Frame. AutoCAD invented Revit, you know, the speed, this is way cool, fast and stable, no install, no setup, no install, performance was great, you know, just all these positive comments about, you know, you've made alpha, beta, pre-release tech preview testing so easy for us. You know, it's free. They don't have to do anything. And you know, one anecdote recently, we're doing some generative design testing with BMW over in Germany. The way that works, it's a client desktop install that talks to our cloud-based solvers, and they do all the you know, the millions of iterations on the cloud. The BMW network wouldn't allow that communication through the network, so we set it up on Frame. They log in a browser, and of course that'll just pass through any normal firewall settings. So now BMW are testing generative design for us using Amazon in Germany, and they just do it in the browser. So, you know, it's just been a hugely positive experience. The guys at Frame have really supported us and helped us, and anybody who's done a lab here in this last couple of days, all of the lab sessions are running Frame as well, and essentially that's been based on the success we've had from the Alpha and Beta program. So let me just click out of this, and I'll show you what it looks like. So this is the AutoCAD Customer Console. It's running on beta.autodesk.com. This is the home page, and down here, run AutoCAD in your browser. You just click on this link. You don't leave beta.autodesk.com, and basically we present some info, and there's those 4 data centres: US East Coast, West Coast, Dublin, Australia. And the information here, this embedded frame is just that simple cut and paste link. We can see the bandwidth, these 5 green dots, the latency, and the red, orange, green dot in the corner, that tells you the availability. So here, San Jose, California, this is green, there's an instance ready, waiting to run. If I click on that, it's just going to start AutoCAD immediately. If we look at Revit, again, the same center code platform, it looks and feels the same. Down here, we've got Run Revit Preview. Sorry, wrong link. Run Preview in your browser. Again, similar looking thing. Vault, here's the Vault Beta. Again, it looks a similar sort of thing. Run Vault in your browser. So, over the last 18 months, all of our tens of thousands of end users they just got so used to it now that they can just log into the beta, click on a link and start it up. So let's show you what it looks like. This is Frame. This is my dashboard. The end users never see this, but if we just look for our production systems, we can see we've got the AEC, the factory, the manufacturing. If I just impersonate one of these accounts, this is my view into Frame. So this is the live published applications running down in the AWS data center in California. You can see Fusion, Vault, Inventor, AutoCAD, etc., etc. So this is an internal view that our customers never see, but if I clicked on one of these, it's just going to start that instance and start the application. So if I show you what our customers actually see, we'll go to, in this case, the Inventor settings. Run Inventor in your browser. So you can see here, just the same as clicking a YouTube link, you click on the frame, we've got a 68 millisecond connection. Yeah, that's pretty good latency. So what that's done, it's gone to that data center, it started a unique instance just for me, presents me some information about how to upload and download data, and already in the background you can see Inventor spinning up. So that was what, 10 seconds? So if that was a normal install process for Inventor, you might have downloaded 50 megs worth of data by now and you've got another 2 or 3 hours of waiting to go. This build here, if we check the date, build 58, that was actually created by our development team on the 15th of October. So on a 4-weekly cadence, we push out every build directly from our dev team up to Frame, and as soon as I hit publish, it's available to our end users. So every 4 weeks they know they can just log in and see the latest and greatest build. The same for AutoCAD, the same for Vault, and we're trying to do it all in this synchronized manner. The same for the Civil 3D and the Revit guys. Now obviously the first thing people say is, well, you know, I've got big models, this is a 3D product, what's the performance like? So what we did here, we worked with Frame and AWS, and we decided that for our usage model, we picked a G2 extra large, which is a 16 gig of RAM machine with I think it's a NVIDIA 520 grid card. So you know, it's a good machine for alpha, beta, early release testing. If we switch over to Azure, we can get a 256 gig of RAM machine with, 4 M60 NVIDIA cards. But we found so far, for the average user to do some quick alpha beta testing, these instances work just fine. So let's try something, just to show you that it does actually work. So let's browse, and what we tend to do is Frame is able to lock down a lot of access to the operating system because we don't want people to see all the windows and all sorts of things, but we can control what documents people can see. So if we look here under Inventor, I've got an assembly here. I don't, does anybody use Inventor here? Okay, so let's just open this this model. So this is live, it's running in a data center in California, running Windows software to a Mac, presented here probably over some sort of, I don't know what the network connection is, but you saw initially the latest build of Inventor was running in 10 seconds. This is now opening a model which is on the local disk of that Frame instance. We pre-populate samples. So this is now opening that model, and this model has got, I think it's about 13,000 parts, which is, it's a reasonable size 3D model, comparable to a lot of models that our general population of Inventor users use, similar sort of size to the your average Revit model. And so you can see there, that opened. Down the bottom corner here, it tells you I've got over 13,000 parts open. So if we just which button is it? Okay, so that's 13,000 parts running Windows software on a Mac in a browser, and that's just as good as any high-end laptop that you're going to give to any of your end users now. If we switch over to Yeah, you can switch on shadows, you can change the visual styles. This is a full-fledged, fully licensed version of Inventor Professional. The same if I click over here, if we go over to Vault, you know, if I say run Vault in the browser, so that other session's still running, I can just leave that and switch between the two. There's some information here about what to do, but basically, click the YouTube Go button. This is going to spin up another instance just for me. Nobody else can see that. And here, you know, Vault Professional Server, you've got, like I said, SQL, IIS, ADMS, and because the Vault guys needed extra level, extra control, we decided here, instead of just sharing the single Vault application like I did for Inventor, here we share the whole desktop. So now this is a full Windows Server 2012 R2. I can do anything I like on here. So, you know, obviously I can just start AutoCAD, I can start Inventor, I can run Vault Job Processor, I can start, you know, I can just use this like it's my own desktop. So that is a fully functioning desktop. I can do anything I need on there. So the Vault guys have seen huge benefits here, because otherwise the Vault beta testers just didn't have the time or interest to build a whole environment just to test that. The beauty of this is, once I've finished, I can just close this. That whole instance has gone away. So I can upload as much data as I like. There's integrations to, down here you can see Google Drive or Box. We can add the Autodesk Drive, or you can do an upload. So there's a lot of different ways that an end user can upload their own data, get it into the Frame instance, open it in the pre-release software and do all the testing. And when they're finished, they don't even need to worry about cleaning it up. They just close the browser and Frame and AWS just kill that instance and it's all gone. So, you know, it's so easy for an end user just to try AutoCAD, Inventor, Revit, Vault, 3ds Max, generative design, you know, the list goes on. And literally, it's as easy as clicking that button and closing the browser when I'm done. And so, you know, what we ask our testers to do, here's another session that I left running. I can have 2 or 3 of these things running at the same time. And what we do, we provide videos. So here, for an example, in the Inventor Alpha project, there's 30 pages of videos. These are all the new functionalities. They can watch a video here. Again, these are embedded links. So they can watch the video here. I'm not going to play this, but you know, the idea is that all these things are embedded into the beta.autodesk.com portal. They can watch a video, they can flick over to run a Frame session, emulate what they saw in the video, run some test tasks, and then when they finish, they provide the feedback. And then again, when they're done, close the browser, and that's done. So all Autodesk softwares that we're testing now is Windows. You can do it all on your Mac, you can do it on your iPad, you can do it on your phone. And the goal is that we really appreciate our end users giving us their time to help us test pre-release software. So it's, you know, we do our due diligence to make it as easy and simple as possible and free for the end users. And Frame has really been the only solution that we've found to date which enables us to do that. So obviously we've talked a lot about pre-release, and you're probably thinking about, well, you know, I'm a customer, how can I do it myself in production? And so one of the things, let's just switch back here. So we've done a lot of work with Frame, primarily on AWS. We're seeing better instance options starting to be offered on Azure. So we're going to start investigating how we transition all our Frame infrastructure in conjunction with Beta over to Azure. Then we can get those higher end instances for about the same sort of cost. And if you're wondering how much it costs, Autodesk pays just less than $2 an hour to provide an end user with that instance, and you know, it's cheap. We could add more data centers. I mentioned US East Coast, West Coast, APAC and Europe. We're talking about adding Singapore to improve access for people in Japan. If we go to Azure, there's a lot more options to add again. We're starting to look at how to automate our deployments. Obviously, our developers, they've got a continuous integration development pipeline. Instead of doing that every 4 weeks, we want to find out how we can do that on every 2 week, every day if we want. So how can we push our builds directly to frame, minimal effort. We're continually adding more products. This is all for pre-release testing. What about beyond pre-release testing? We want to look at an online trial. So now anybody can do a 30-day trial, but you've got to download and install it. Instead, it'd be better to click that link, up and running in 10 seconds, do your trial and tell us what you think. Education certification. These sort of software virtualization techniques, they're just hugely popular in education because you've got one centrally managed instance that you can push out to thousands of end users. So we want to see how we can help our education certification teams. And beyond that, how can we offer this as an end user subscription benefit for all of our customers? We host our products, we host the data, we host the instances. You just run it, access your own data, and you're good. So, we've done a lot of work over the last 18 months. There's still a lot more, huge amount more potential that we can get going forward. And wow, that's big. This has really been a real collaborative effort between quite a team in Autodesk, obviously Frame, and then our friends down at Centrecode. They helped us integrate Frame directly into their portal. So it's been hugely rewarding for our product teams, our customers, and everybody involved. So it's nothing but a success.